Ted Bundy, the charming serial killer. Ted Bundy is one of the most infamous serial killers in American history, a man whose name still sends chills down the spine decades after his execution. Born on November 24, 1946, in Burlington, Vermont, Bundy appeared, at first glance, to be the very opposite of what one might expect from a murderer. He was intelligent, articulate, and attractive. People often described him as polite, charming, and ambitious. He studied psychology, worked in politics, and even volunteered for a suicide prevention hotline. This was the face he showed to the world, a mask of normalcy hiding a dark and monstrous secret. Bundy's killing spree began in the early 1970s, though he later hinted that he may have started even earlier. His victims were almost always young women, often with similar physical features, long, straight hair parted in the middle. He would approach them in public places like college campuses, libraries, or parking lots, pretending to be injured or in need of help, sometimes wearing a fake cast or using crutches. Once he gained their trust, he would lure them to a more secluded location. There, his demeanor would change completely. He would overpower, assault, and ultimately murder them, often with shocking violence. Bundy was a meticulous predator. He stalked his victims carefully, planned his abductions, and often returned to the crime scenes to spend time with the bodies. In some cases, he kept the remains for days, engaging in deeply disturbing acts that horrified investigators. Over time, his attacks grew bolder and more reckless. Between 1974 and 1978, Bundy's crimes spanned several U.S. states, including Washington, Oregon, Utah, Colorado, and Florida. His ability to evade capture frustrated law enforcement, especially because he could blend seamlessly into everyday life. He had girlfriends, friends, and even a steady job at times. He appeared in law school and political campaigns. No one suspected the smiling young man was hiding such a horrific double life. Bundy was eventually arrested in Utah in 1975 after a police officer pulled him over and found suspicious items in his car. However, without enough evidence to tie him to the murders, he was charged with kidnapping and sentenced to prison. While awaiting trial for murder in Colorado, Bundy managed to escape, not once, but twice. In one daring incident, he jumped from a courthouse window, in another, he squeezed through a small hole in the ceiling of his jail cell. After his second escape in late 1977, Bundy fled to Florida, where he committed one of his most brutal attacks. In the early morning hours of January 15, 1978, Bundy broke into the Chi Omega sorority house at Florida State University. Within minutes, he had bludgeoned and strangled two women, Margaret Bowman and Lisa Levy, and severely injured two others. Weeks later, he kidnapped and murdered 12-year-old Kimberly Leach. Bundy was captured for the final time in February 1978. His trial became a media circus, broadcast on national television, the first televised murder trial in U.S. history. Bundy, ever the manipulator, acted as his own attorney, using the courtroom as a stage. Despite his attempts to charm the jury, the overwhelming evidence led to his conviction for the Chi Omega murders. In 1979, Bundy was sentenced to death. Over the next decade on death row, he confessed to more than 30 murders, though experts believe the true number may have been far higher. His confessions were chilling, often lacking any sense of remorse. On January 24, 1989, Ted Bundy was executed in the electric chair at Florida State Prison. Outside the prison, crowds cheered and celebrated his death, holding signs that read "Burn, Bundy, burn." Ted Bundy's case remains a terrifying reminder that evil can hide behind a friendly smile. His story continues to fascinate and disturb because it shattered the illusion that monsters are always easy to spot. Bundy's legacy is one of manipulation, deception, and unimaginable cruelty, a cautionary tale about the dangers of trusting appearances.